Okay, so YouTube has been kind of fighting this battle between third-party clients and their own website and even ad blockers for a little bit now. But apparently, a week ago, they put out a note, about a week ago, they put out a notice talking about like, hey, you will accept like third-party clients, but they've got to show ads, otherwise we're going to block them. So basically, it's like third-party ad blocking apps are on notice. Ominous post on the official YouTube community help forum tiled enforcement on third-party apps says the company is strengthening our enforcement on third-party apps that violate YouTube's terms of service, specifically ad blocking apps. Google would really like it if you all paid for YouTube Premium. So there's been a lot of back and forth between third-party apps and YouTube. Not all third-party apps block ads, but it is a perk of a lot of third-party apps. So apps like NewPipe and I think YouTube Advanced and so on don't necessarily completely block ads, but they in essence directly interface with the videos in order to get the video content directly. So let's see, YouTube Advanced in 2022, open source though, new alternatives sprung up, repeat and dislike buttons and ability to turn off addictive suggestions that appear all over the app. So another one, NewPipe, a from-scratch YouTube player that follows the open source ethos and is available on the FOSS-only Store F-Droid. NewPipe wants a lightweight client without the proprietary code and million permissions that YouTube needs, but it also blocks ads. So I think this part about it blocking ads is kind of intrinsic to the API that it uses, or the way that it does things. So for NewPipe in particular, it in essence uses can use Invidious as a back end, but it largely relies on basically the yt-dlp backend in order to pull content down. And so that's how you're able to play it in the background and things like that, and you can get such good quality per se in NewPipe because it's able to look at all the different resolutions and formats of the video in order to give you an option that you want and send you the one that you want specifically. If I were, let me double check. So if I did yt-dlp --help, so it'll give me a long list of things. So I should be able to, let's see, video format options, format code. I'm looking for the list format ones because there should be a list format option here. List extractors. So live from start, no live from start. So you can download live streams from start. Currently only supported, or from the current time. So again, it has stuff for live streams, which NewPipe supports. It's just lazy play. Give me a second while I find it. It was right under my nose. Okay. So if I were to take a completely random video and I were to copy the link, I could go in, do capital F, do that thing, and that thing again. Oh, I need capital F. I can look at it and it'll list out all these formats for me that I can download it in. And this is similar to what NewPipe does, is gives you a list of available formats to play your video in. So a lot of them rely on that. So it may be harder because YouTube's been playing this cat and mouse game with YouTube DL. They had a YouTube DL removed, and then yt-dlp came back up, and so on and so forth. So rather than going after the project, Google says it's going to start disrupting users who are using these apps. Viewers who are using third-party apps may experience buffering issues or see the error, the following content is not available on this app when trying to watch a video. We want to emphasize that our terms don't allow third-party apps to turn off ads because that prevents the creator from being rewarded for viewership. So this is where the give the creator money directly comes in. What they're really going on is they're not getting the money from the ads because they're not being served them. The creator themselves may actually have another way of being supported, like Patreon and so on, which is quite normal, being with the number of times that YouTube has changed ad revenue share and so on. And even for my stuff, depending on what browser you're using or app you're using, you're gonna see an ad. And I'm not getting money from it because I don't qualify for that monetization as of yet. So to say that it prevents a creator from being rewarded for viewership is kind of somewhat false, because the creator can still get an income stream through other means, and actually at a much better value than what YouTube will provide. Let billions of people around the world use a streaming service. So let's see, help on YouTube helps support creators. And so this is kind of the big part, is it pays for their infrastructure is what they're going after. So they are hemorrhaging money, and they're trying to find ways to encourage you to either allow ads or pay for YouTube Premium, which means that you're giving them money to do things that sometimes you may not always agree with. If you remember back when Google aggressively fought to keep third-party YouTube apps off of Windows Phone, the company seemed to take a similar stance against all third-party YouTube clients, even if they wanted to integrate ads. Google says that's no longer the case, and it would allow third-party YouTube clients provided they follow the API terms of service. So I don't necessarily think that YouTube DL, I'm not sure if YouTube DL hooks into the YouTube API, but it might in order to get those formats. But it's interesting because you can still have a number of website scrapers that'll still pull things down pretty easily. Let's see. So this one's from the 18th. See, YouTube also started disabling videos when users had enabled an ad blocking extension. So I've never had this problem. I've had family that's had this problem with like YouTube limiting them, but it was literally like clear the cache, restart over. And I think a lot of browsers like Fire Dragon might implement some of this automatically in order to bypass the whole 310 video whatever limit, that arbitrary number limit that YouTube puts on it for ad block. Let's see. We're strengthening our enforcement on third-party apps. Let's see. YouTube explained how the platform only allows third-party apps to use the API when they follow the API terms of service, and when we find an app that violates these terms, we will take appropriate action to protect our platform, creators, and viewers. So this is where the Virgin API and Chad web scraper meme comes into play, is the fact that it doesn't matter that there's an API. If you can scrape it from like a web view, then you're basically golden, because you can just get the video directly or any other content without having to hook into their API. You're without an account even. So you're going in through a web page, in essence, and just scraping the information off of there through the HTML or what all that is rendered, and then displaying the pertinent information. So I think if I open up FreeTube, it basically does the same thing. To some extent, it does the same thing. So I can go into settings. I can go, let's see, where was it? Okay, So you can see that you can set your NVIDIA instance and then it'll go from there. So this even works quite well in certain other instances where your YouTube API may be restricted based on a school situation and so on. You can change to a different instance of, say, NVIDIA or what have you that doesn't, or add that proxy between it so that you can watch the videos that may be restricted on a network in order to get past it. So you're not directly going to YouTube, you're getting the content still, just like proxied through another server. Trust me, I know. And so I haven't quite seen this as of yet. I don't know what happens if I use a third-party app to block ads on YouTube. During the last crackdowns on ad blocking extensions, YouTube users noticed buffering on the platform, often making it unusable. I only noticed this when Wire Plumber crashes, okay? I'm gonna be real. Like, recently I've had Wire Plumber crashing, and it might be due to trying to find Bluetooth headphones or whatever through Blue Man's Ear or whatever. And it's kind of irritating to have to restart Wire Plumber again. But anyway, it's happened midstream a couple times too, I'm not gonna lie, and yeah. Under the YouTube's latest crackdown, viewers using third-party apps may experience buffering issues or see the error following content is not available on this app when trying to watch a video, Google said. So I may be watching obscure enough channels that either A, YouTube hasn't noticed, or B, they're channels that YouTube doesn't care about. So take that with a grain of salt. Looks like YouTube's plan is working with users on X, formerly Twitter. Sneed, formerly Chucks, saying they were unable to use their ad blocking apps. Guys, stop using ad blockers. Makes ads longer. Buy YouTube Premium. Puts 3 ads in a row. Why are people using ad blockers? Makes ads unskippable. I thought my YouTube was bugged because my ad blocker broke for a bit and I had a 52-second unskippable ad. So if you're using Chromium at this point or any Chromium-based browsers, you're probably doing it wrong, honestly, because, there's some restrictions with, Manifest v3 that Google was trying to implement into it. I don't know if they were successful. I didn't quite follow up on that. But most of my viewing is done in, Fire Dragon, as it is when it comes to YouTube. Or FreeTube even. But yeah. AdGuard says it's not affected by YouTube's latest ad blocking crackdown, was quick to respond, saying a blog that is not affected is because AdGuard for Android and AdGuard for iOS apps do not use YouTube's official tools. Its API to block ads. Again, when people aren't using your API, it doesn't matter. Instead, AdGuard plays the video in its own in-app browser, similar to how you would watch YouTube with an ad blocker in a regular web browser. The method allows AdGuard to use the same filters that are available in the browser. So about 80% of the time, there was a point where it was like 95% of the time I was watching YouTube through a browser with uBlock Origin installed. And then it turned into using NewPipe for the most part, and now it's GrayJ, I think, more recently, because it combines the functionality of Rumble, Odyssey, and NewPipe into one. The only thing I don't like is the fact that GrayJ doesn't quite have that sponsor block integrated in, like the fork of NewPipe I've been using, which has sponsor block built in, which is a whole other subject on its own for later on. But first we had ad blockers, then we had ad blocker blockers, then we had ad blocker blockers. Now YouTube is working on an ad blocker. Just give up already. YouTube has announced, okay, yeah. Why is Google cracking down? Because they want money. Ad money. And yet they restrict what advertisers can advertise on YouTube. Even though, so YouTube has this thing. So let's see, Emphasize that or don't allow third-party apps is because it prevents creator from being rewarded. We also understand that some people prefer blah, 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 YouTube Premium. Creators don't get paid. So they're using the creators as a cudgel, even though they're paying them pennies on the hundreds of views. And they're taking most of that ad money for themselves. So the problem is there are a lot of ads that people may not necessarily like. And so what ends up happening is YouTube limits what companies can advertise on their platform. They say, no, you're not an acceptable advertiser, even though that advertiser would advertise on these unadvertiser-friendly channels, which is another thing. They're saying that a certain channel is not advertiser-friendly, and then turning around and still kind of slipping ads into their videos, just not paying them for it. And so they limit the advertisers who can advertise on YouTube, and then they limit whose videos can be advertised on. So they're losing money in both senses. So someone that may be demonetized would have plenty of advertisers willing to pay them to have their stuff advertised on this video. But YouTube says, no, that's not acceptable. And then the advertisers they accept say, quote, air quotes, that they don't like advertising their stuff next to it. And we've seen, like, through the various adpocalypse iterations that in a lot of ways it's just journalists doing this to damage certain people and to drop the advertising cost or whatever cost for mainstream media to be able to work on YouTube and to be favored on YouTube. But anyway, YouTube's ad blocking crackdown, what to do? YouTube's crackdown on ad blockers was never ideal, but this latest move to expand it to third-party apps shows the firm means business. Okay, so you're going to ad block on a bunch of people that are sick of being advertised to the point that they have sponsor block. They are blocking sponsor spots in, like, skipping sponsor spots in videos in order to avoid advertising, to just enjoy the content. And yet you're sitting here cracking down on ads saying it's going to hurt creators if we don't do this. You've got to show ads so that we don't hurt creators, but yet YouTube is restricting the amount of money that they're giving to creators, and so creators have to resort to sponsorships in videos, so creating their own ad spots outside of what YouTube already puts is ad spots in the video, and people are skipping over that. So you think you're going to convince a bunch of people that are blocking their creators' sponsor spots that they need to see more ads that you insert into very bad places in videos? I don't think so. If you enjoyed the video, then like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm, boost the video up, share this video with your friends. If you found it informative or you just want to chat, I've got plenty of places in the description. Discord, Guilded, and what have you. Check those out, and I will see you guys in the next one.